That's what we're here to see. We're here to see some back and forth fighting here. And we're going to head over towards Ilios because, Matt, life's a beach. Let's get it started.
Still have some time for the teams to mix around with their comps, but probably say Lucio here. Lucio we see in control more than any other game mode. Obviously, you can get the speed boost right onto the point, get some of that position a little bit faster than the other. We see for the side of the Philly Fusion, it looks like Shadowburn will be running the Pharah. No Pharah on the side of the London Spitfire. They'll have to go with Birdring on McCree, and then they'll have Bedosa playing Zenyatta. So it'll be those two players plus Fury on the Diva really going after that Pharah from Shadowburn.
I like this as a look from the Spitfire. Shadowburn's definitely going to be tested. He tries to get into the back line. Harpe also could be in danger, but we've seen Pharah Tracer combos really pressure McCree's out well before. I like to think back to the Shanghai Dragons match from day one. We'll see. It's not a good one from Undead, probably one he'd sooner forget.
And no Zen on the side of the Philly Fusion. Boombox, who's a very good Zenyatta player, he'll be playing the Lucio in this lineup. It's interesting because you have Joe Meister on the bench, who's a traditionally very talented Lucio player and a good call.
Box again, normally on the Zenyatta, but I guess they need to go with the Mercy here. That's a look they need for the Pharah Birdring. The flash is there though. Boombox again, very, very tricky to get himself out of that position. For a Pharah, when there's a Diva right up his rear side, so it seems as if he went for the wrong target there, or perhaps just wanted to try and get an easy bit of damage down. Nuss is down, Carpe has a bit of space to work. You can see he's even able to go and get that health pack. The rest of his team though is not looking so stellar. Poco being desuited, the rest of them coming back in now. So they re-engage a fight with two supports and a Winston. Carpe off one towards the side, trying to chase down Jester. He actually finds him, so there might be something to this now. He needs to get on towards Birdring though. That's a really important 1v1.
And Dayfly does get his Valkyrie, so could see that be used here for the Philadelphia Fusion if needed. It'll be a self-destruct that comes out from Fury. Gonna try and get back in his mech, but Carpe deletes him before making that happen. So you do see it's going to be the Deadeye from Birdring that takes out Dayfly during his Valkyrie, so that's a huge kill there from Birdring.
I mean, while we're watching Carpe's perspective, it's important to notice that, Dayfly gets picked up by Deadeye, Carpe now down to Birdring, so that's his second big kill of the fight. And also Bedosa picks off Shadowburn, who on the Pharah has not been featuring very heavily in the kill feed so far. It's not quite gelling for the Fusion still here. Perhaps the threat of the McCree is keeping Shadowburn to very fine sightlines, preventing him from getting optimal damage in this fight.
It is, because yesterday when we saw that Shadowburn was doing a ton of damage on the Pharah, you had Carpe finishing all those kills off. Shadowburn finishes the match with about 30% of overall team damage. Right now, Carpe actually has more damage than Shadowburn. So that tells me that they're able to just keep kind of poking away, getting Shadowburn's health a little bit low, where he's not able to put down that consistent damage. Birdring with a flashbang, a headshot onto Carpe, takes out that Tracer, so not going to have the Tracer be able to finish off a lot of the damage that Shadowburn's putting down.
So we're watching Birdring's perspective right now. He has not had to roll backwards once in the entire time we've been on first person with him. He's been left unattended, free enough to move around the court. Like the fact that Carpe didn't expect him to be there kind of gives you the impression that the Philadelphia Fusion have done a bad job of keeping tabs on the most dangerous DPS hero on the side of the Spitfire. Birdring has been giving rule of the roost.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of look at the positioning here on my mini-map, and you have Shadowburn just playing all the way far in that pack, because Birdring just keeps getting up, putting a shot into him, getting the Discord on him, and just pushing him back just further and further and further away. It's difficult for him to make an impact on Pharah at that moment in time. Birdring's going to have a Deadeye here coming into this next fight.
And that's dangerous.
Yeah, Valkyrie, Shadowburn. Yeah, Valkyrie coming up soon. You could be able to get that Pharah Mercy combo out of the sky.
Birdring, oh, he's trying to come out from just a cheeky little spot there. He almost takes down Dayfly. You see how far back he sits. He's playing safe. He doesn't find the kill, but Dayfly gets finished off. The damage was enough though, so that, Gesher could jump in and finish the kill. However, the barrage coming out from Shadowburn was at least able to get the responsive kill on towards that Winston. Down the well goes Prophet. I'm sorry, Lassie, you're not going to be able to chase that one up.
Well, the tanks for the London Spitfire dive in and get Dayfly. They eliminate him, they get him really weak. And what happens there, Shadowburn actually uses the Rocket Barrage, takes out both tanks. He actually gets the kill on the Gesture, D-Max Fury, and then takes him out. So you lose your tanks on the point there for London. You did have Frankie drop towards the end of that fight. He's not going to be there at the beginning of this one. It'll be Dayfly using the Valkyrie, trying to keep members from the Philly Fusion up until you get Fraggy back in.
Shadowburn committed really heavily to try and find Nuss there, and in the time that he was being juked, Birdring and Prophet find kills themselves. So now it's Philadelphia Fusion down to a skeleton crew of heroes. Fraggy falling, Bedosa's having a huge impact so far in this round. Shadowburn, all he can try and do is a bit of, skeet shooting at this stage, but Fury staying healthy enough. You can see that very, very heavily Dayfly is being pressured away. Boombox has already fallen. Shadowman, what are your options here? Again, trying to get a little bit of damage. He's still being healed, but Datefire's down now. Jester picks him off. It's a swing of the fist with a Primal Rage. That's got to be over for the Philadelphia Fusion here. I don't know how you come back from that.
The London Spitfire did such a tremendous job putting somebody in Shadowburn's face at all times, not allowing him to get that free damage playing Pharah. We saw time and time again. It was like Discord and a shot from Birdring, then it was Fury jumping up on the D.Va, and we even saw Gesture get into the mix, quite often, going up, playing up against that Pharah on the Winston.
You can almost hear the Philadelphia Fusion trying to think their way out of this situation. They play so slow. Would they lose a hero? Like, a good example is this, right? The Fusion lose a player and they stop the push on Horizon, right? The Spitfire lose 2 players and they push into the enemy team's point B just before taking point A. It's like, it's very, very easy to throw a roadblock out in front of the Fusion. And while they're trying to, mentally, use some acrobatics to get around it, it's just more percentage on this kind of map. You have to be decisive on a control point map or the game is going to be lost before you come up with a solution.
Just so much aggression coming out from the London Spitfire. While Birdring on the Widowmaker, Carpe playing Widowmaker for the Philly Fusion. Just be kind of like a dance between these two players.
I want to see no respect
find each other.
I want to see 0 respect from the Philadelphia Fusion, but Carpe just gets vaporized. They're under the scrutiny of Birdring. It's like he didn't even know he was there. The reaction was insane. Frag it down now. All over for the Fusion for this first fight.
And when London announced this roster, I was, as a DPS player who only plays DPS, who insta-locks it every game, I was excited to see the potential of if you had Birdring and Prophet playing together at one time, and to see it happen now and to see how crazy it is and how sick it is with not even probably a lot of actual game time playing it, right? I mean, obviously they're scrimming, but they're not regular season matches, can't match that intensity. To see them kind of work off each other this well already, it's got to be scary for a lot of other teams.
Look how this slows the game down. Look how that first pick really just throws a spanner in the works for the Fusion. Losing Shadowburn now, again, they've got to back away. They know that the Spitfire is so strong that even, man to man, they might struggle to beat them. They know that a man down, they're definitely not going to beat them on towards this point.
Well, I remember we casted, I believe it was Seoul, New York during the preseason, and
it looked like this.
Yeah, when they were able to get so many picks, Seoul, it just forced New York to just kind of wait and wait and wait. They were actually never really able to get a play towards the point. And look at this. I mean, the picks from Birdring and Fury here early. What do you do? Just what do you do? I mean, now they have so many ultimates here in London, right? I mean, you have your Valkyrie, you have Transcendence, you built up a large chunk of these ultimates that even if Billy comes in and uses a ton, there's so many to counter with on the side of the Spitfire.
It's like Carpe's trying to get into the cookie jar, and every time he gets close, Birdring just slaps his hand back and says, not now. You have to eat your greens first. Carpe's just not been finding these picks on the Widowmaker, and it's been all too easy for Birdring. And again, it's a clear skill golf, or at least performance golf between those two so far in this round. Birdring finds Boombox there. He hasn't found Carpe yet, but he doesn't need to. This will still slow the Fusion down significantly.
And all you had to do there was have Prophet use his pulse bomb there. He was able to take out Dayfly. Now you still have both support ults here online, but it's going to be Gesture taking Carpe out at the beginning. So now at 88% and counting, what do you do if you're Philly? You have to kind of make a play towards the point. They're going to use their Valkyrie here a little bit early, trying to force Transcendence out here. Is Gesture jumping right on the Boombox. Boombox takes him out with such low HP. That's a big kill.
Talk about ride the lightning for Boombox, but it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. There's these individual moments where perhaps the Fusion is showing us the capacity to challenge the Spitfire, but they are few, they are far between, and that was probably one of the quickest maps we have seen so far.
They just were never able to get towards the point.
It's a different game when you've got a Widowmaker dominating like that.
So they did have Fraggy actually pop Primal Rage, and he goes